This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you're keen to create high-converting A-plus content graphics and copy to give your product a big boost in terms of ranking and sales, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us the process to create highly effective A-plus content and how to correctly delegate that to our graphic designer and team members. I'm joined today by Slave Angelov, a design expert from Macedonia who has revolutionized the world of Amazon-centric design with FlipPrice, a design agency that has been serving top Amazon brands and aggregators since 2016. Following the success of FlipPrice, driven by his belief that every quality product deserves to be seen and sold, Slave founded the Lista.co, a tool that empowers sellers to effortlessly optimize their listing images for free with Amazon guidelines in mind. Hey, Slave, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, Marco. I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. Yeah, so you are an expert when it comes to creating content, especially, the graphic content, copy type of content. So we, in our pre-interview chat, we discussed about how you are able to delegate these kind of tasks effectively to your designers and copywriters that works in your agency. So I think that's a kind of a skill that needs to be learned, and all the entrepreneurs that are running an Amazon business will be interested in. So today we can talk about that. So why don't we start to, by defining this process, share with us what is the process you have your designer to follow in order to make high quality A+ content?
That's a great question. And especially as an agency, agencies tend to, in their pursuit of growth, they tend to, to hire a lot of people quickly in order to, increase revenue. And in the process, if they don't have solid foundations and solid processes for their designers and marketing team, the quality of the work is not going to be reflective of a growing high quality agency. And so it's really important to set up the right standards and the right procedures. And our process, it starts with copywriters and then it gets to designers. But at the same time, it starts with both parties doing a very thorough research. So our first step is research, always. Research, then design, then testing, and then internal feedback and client feedback. And so in this procedure, the designer's job is to primarily, research competitors, research trends in the industry and the category that we're trying to sell a product, and really figure out how these specific products are being marketed to people, what the audiences are, and how these audiences are portrayed, and basically what sort of aesthetic resonates with the target audience. So once they do that with a creative director, figure out what sort of aesthetic to take. By this time, they get the copywriting from our marketing expert, and they're able to start working on the design. Now, the design process, they do it on their own. Once they're done, putting together all of the contexts that they've researched and they've received from the marketing person, they export the images and they test them on mobile. They see that it all looks good. It has a good flow on mobile as well. And that's when they submit it for our own internal feedback. So they get rounds of feedback internally. And once we're all happy with it, creative director, marketing writer, copywriter, then we send it to the client for another few rounds of revision. So basically from research to feedback, there's a whole process with a loop between our internal team and the client feedback.
Okay, that's interesting. I think we should break that down a little bit further to understand it better. But so I'm curious to know: is it the same person who is doing the research and who is the designer? So the designer is actually doing the research because she's the one who will actually do the designs, or you have that. It's more like a team effort. So somebody else is doing the research and handing that over to the designer.
Oh, every project should be a team effort. At FlipPrice, that's why we have rounds of feedback internally. The research is done by both parties. So we have the copywriter, research their own, part of the optimization, and then we have the designer research the visual cues that we should put together for specific products. So these are nuances that are that they can find in high quality premium products on Amazon and outside of Amazon, leaders in the industry, leaders in similar industries, to basically gather how to market a specific product. And the job of a marketing expert or a copywriter is a little bit different because they go in with a little bit more of a data-driven research. So their research is separate from the designer's research because they're supposed to do the keyword research. They use ChatGPT to pull information from Amazon competitors' feedback or like review section and like distill that into what people are complaining about, what people like about this product, what they notice about this product. And basically the copywriter's job is to put all of that, is to analyze all of that, cut it down to the amount of images that we have available for EBC and try to figure out which information is necessary to have on the listing, which information is good to have, and what would be okay if we have enough space, if we have a context within a specific image for it, or things like that. So once the copywriter has done all of that data-driven research, they're providing a copy for each module one by one, where they're telling the designer, okay, this is what I've envisioned for this module. Here's some examples for that. This is what I've envisioned for the second module. Here's some examples. And then the designer combines that with their own visual research on what competitors look like in the industry.
Okay, I see. That makes more sense, obviously, because basically is the copywriter who is guiding the process, right? Because obviously the designer cannot create like random designs without knowing what's written in the design, right? Okay, so that's very important part is that everything starts from the copy. So the copywriter does the research and think about all the points that they need to address in the copy, and then the designer obviously will create designs according to those points. Okay, that's very helpful to know.
And most importantly, there's a feedback process. In a lot of agency contexts, just because clients want things done faster, they want to see their listing optimized as soon as possible. A lot of this gets overlooked. A lot of the review process gets overlooked, and especially when agencies are outsourcing their design work, the time that gets even tighter. So unfortunately, in some cases with in the industry, the review process gets lost, and it's almost the most important part of the process, because everyone's supposed to provide the feedback for the input they've given at the beginning, and then it should be shown to the client for their own feedback. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. So I'm curious to know, is the designer following a specific structure of how they should, work with how should they make the graphics, or it always depends, case by case, every product is different. So they will need to, the design structure will come up from the research.
So the structure of the EBC, as we all know, Amazon offers their own like standard combinations of modules that you can use, or you can do a custom one. We prefer to use custom just because it's the best way to optimize the EBC for mobile view. And we typically tend to use either large modules. So we have a typical standard layout that we use, but then depending on what the product is, that can variate a little bit. So something that we recommend is start with a logo or like a branded logo module, go into a couple of large image header modules, have one 3-image module, and then continue with another couple of large modules, image header, and then a comparison chart. Now, this is because these are the types of modules that perform well on mobile and on web. So that you get large, beautiful images on mobile, and then you still get them on web, and it doesn't look empty and it doesn't look spaced out. It looks like a full listing. Now, of course, there's variations in terms of, for example, if you have a lot of similar products, and if you have like a lot of variations of the same product, you can use 2 comparison modules instead of a large module. If you, for example, if your product is a little more complicated, and if it has more features to highlight that don't need a lot of explanation, then you can use 3 image modules, and have 1 image per feature. And this way, you can really use the EBC in the best way for the specific products. In general terms, larger, beautiful images perform better on both mobile and web.
Okay, that's very interesting.
And of course the brand story module, because that's something new that Amazon unveiled, and it really helps to highlight the brand's value, the brand's mission statement. If you support any charities or any organizations or any causes, you can use this to highlight those aspects of the brand, or promote products, or use it the way you want, because it's a pretty good opportunity and it takes up a lot of space.
Okay, sure. All right, sounds great. So since you already mentioned a few, maybe we could go about talking about the what are your best tips or best practices to create highly converting A+ content? Because you mentioned some with the mobile. I would like you to also talk about mobile, because I think it's a lot of sales. The share of sales. A big part of the share of sales come from mobile, so that's it's important that we optimize for that.
Yeah, for sure. Mobile optimization is always one of the it shouldn't even be like a hot tip at this point. It's been so long since Amazon started selling more on mobile, or at least people are viewing products more in mobile than they have been for a long time. And so this should be like a standard procedure. Every time our designer creates something, they have to export it and send it to their phone and view it from their phone, and make sure all of the copy is legible, and they can see everything right, and it still has the same good flow that they've created for web. So that's definitely one of the standard procedures that everyone should have when designing EBC. But some tips that maybe people are less familiar with would be more of like marketing strategies. For example, using brand association. So if you put your product in the context of products that are known to be premium products, if that fits the environment that they're photographed in, then people will associate your product with higher quality premium products, and you can create the sense of higher value and higher status for your product. So that's a tip that we've used, and it's definitely helped solidify some a good brand image for companies that we use. Now, of course, you can't use the competitors' logos or any other brand logos in your images, but you can take those out, and people will still remember the shape of that shampoo bottle or the colors of that particular product. So that's one thing that I think people can benefit from. So when taking lifestyle photos, think about what the context is, not just what who the person is in the living room, but also what are some other products that are in there that can help support your brand's premium value, or using product contextualization. So that's another thing that we've noticed is people want to see the product in its best performance, not just the use case that it's used mostly in. So, for example, if it's like a beard trimmer, for personal use that people buy for themselves, you should portray it in a salon, you should portray it in a barbershop, because people want to feel like they're buying an industrial almost product. Now, the product can be anything. So I'm speaking, generally here, but you can think about what that is for your product. What's the professional environment that people want to see this product in to feel like they have a premium, they're buying a premium product. And then another tip is basically something very relevant nowadays. Everyone can have a good listing, but people want social proof. So user generated content is something that people trust a lot. They want to see real people using these products, and basically that helps with that.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm curious to know, like, how do you deal with, for example, the Premium A+ that has a little bit different new modules, right? I think not everybody right now, it's actually even allowed to publish Premium A+, right? Do you have also like tips and suggestions about how to make the best use of that?
Honestly, the premium EBC is the way that I think you can get more for less. If you are like an Amazon brand, and if you want to, if you have like over 15 products and you're selling over 15 products, this is definitely something that you should look into, because you don't have to fulfill a lot of criteria in order to be to be approved it. So the only thing you need to do, all the criteria that you need to satisfy is that all of the ASINs in your catalog should have a brand story installed. So that's easy if you have over, however many products you have. But I'm saying over 50 because the second criteria is that you must have at least 15 A+ content project submissions approved before in the last 12 months in order to be eligible for it, and then you get it for free. And I think if you are currently eligible for it, or if you think you will be in a very near future, I think A+ content is going to become the norm. But it isn't right now. So up until recently, we were only seeing like Amazon's own products being highlighted with these beautiful big, and we were so envious, and it was so unfair that they got to to have these modules. But really, if you think you will qualify, hold off on creating regular EBC and focus on fulfilling that criteria, because you will have to design that eventually. It's a great way to get beautiful, huge banners, videos installed, carousels, and things like that. So I think that's definitely something that you should do. The way to design those is, the logic behind it is very similar to designing regular EBC. Only now you have the ability to express that through different types of modules. And it's really upped the game of listing optimization, because with it, you're not just looking at images, you're interacting with these modules. So you can click on it, you can, compare things, and you can really, once you start interacting with it, you feel a sense of like familiarity with the product, and you've done work and you've done research. And I think that's the thing that people try to figure out before they buy a product. Have I researched this enough? And I think with interacting with it, I think that helps immensely in that direction.
For sure. I also heard that this Premium A+ content, I still haven't developed any, because it's in our design pipeline currently. But I've heard many people saying that it would increase their conversion rates, especially for mobile user, because with Premium A+ content, you can also distinguish the content of the type of content that will go in mobile and the type of content that will go on desktop, right? So this is like a really, really useful kind of feature that we didn't have before with regular A+ content. So that's a really, it's a big advantage if you start producing a Premium A+. So talking about this is what is your ways to, what are the ways that you use to track success and how do you define success, whether you have created a good Premium A+ or like any A+ content, right? So how do you define success? Do you use testing? What are the metrics that you use to that will tell you that you created a good A+ content?
So it's really a combination of a few factors. One, satisfying the customer's needs and what they've envisioned for their product. And it really depends, as an agency, it really depends, that focuses on design. It depends on whether or not the customer wants you to, and how much the customer wants you to get involved. Sometimes people have ideas that they come to us with, and sometimes people want us to take the role of design completely. And that's something that we prefer. And the way we measure is with conversion rate. So if the client is seeing results in the conversion rate of their product, that's the only metric for a successful ABC. And they can track. There's ways to compare it. You can compare it to same time last year. You can compare it to the same time that you've run similar ads. You've spent the same amount on bidding, and basically if you get your parameters right, there's a way to test if the EBC you've created has improved conversion or not. And that's the only metric really for an optimized listing, because optimization means making it so that it converts more, upgrading it so that it converts more. And if that wasn't the only metric, people would not be investing in it just because they get pretty images. So it's the only one that makes sense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's very convenient to test those things, because there is the feature, the manage experiment feature that we got in Seller Central, where we can basically play with different modules of the same A+ content. So we can define if is there any increase of in sales or conversion rates whenever we change things in the content.
Yeah.
So that's
it's especially easy to compare if the rest of the parameters are the same and you're just changing the EBC. And that's what I would suggest. Like whenever you're updating, the only real way to see if there's any improvement with the EBC is if you don't change anything else at the same time. So really, change things slowly, one by one, and that's the only way you can see what's improving the conversion and what's not. Otherwise exactly. You wouldn't know for sure.
Right. So basically one module at a time, right? So just changing one single module, test that, and then see, leaving everything the same, and then test the other another module.
You can either do that, or you can just change the EBC and see maybe for the whole EBC. Typically, our clients want to change the whole EBC once they see it, because they don't want to leave their crusty images from their manufacturers, or something else they have that's old that needs replaced. People are not as patient with it, and I think it's convenient to update your whole listing at once. Or so I don't know. I think if you are patient and if you update things slowly, then you will be able to see the results of individual changes.
Yeah, of course. Okay, sounds great. So something that I thought it would be worth sharing is that, to create Amazon A+ content, you need to invest a lot in terms of time, effort, research, and team effort. It's very time consuming, to do this whole research and creating the graphics. Obviously, if you're not making yourself, you need to hire a graphic designer to do that. So it's obviously like very time consuming and money consuming. So we want to be aware of the restrictions that this content has before we start investing into something. So I know you know about all these restrictions, because otherwise you would lose a lot of time and money into creating content that then will get rejected by Amazon, right? So let's give these tips to people, like what are the things that we should not put. So now we spoke about what we should put into an A+ content, right? All the elements that we should include. So what are now the elements that we should avoid in order to get our content accepted and published on Amazon?
Yeah. So there's some things that in our experience, there hasn't been like too much that's not accepted, even though, that's what it might seem like. But I think people are just maybe unfamiliar with the standards for Amazon, EBC images. And, Amazon lists all of those things pretty clearly and conveniently in blog posts and posts on their website. But some general rules that apply, to all categories are: don't include competitors' logos in your images. Don't compare yourself to competitors in your EBC. Focus on the product and focus on highlighting the benefits, the features of your own product. Don't make medical claims. For example, if you're selling in like a cosmetics, or if you're selling in supplements, categories like that. You should not write that something heals, something prevents, or something cures. You should always find the right words to say that it helps, that it assists in helping, it assists in alleviating something. So things like that, or like some other examples. I don't know, like hair growth products. You shouldn't say like it will help, it will grow your hair. It doesn't directly affect a cure, it doesn't solve a medical issue. Basically say that it helps in something, it helps restore, it helps something like that. Things like that. You should not make medical claims. Don't use certificates that need approval by the certifying party, and this can be a very different thing in different industries. But there are specific like government agencies that explicitly say don't use our logo in Amazon images, and you should know better than to do that, because Amazon knows of these restrictions, and they know that that's false. That's false advertising. So yeah, don't false advertise. Don't make medical claims. Don't use brand logos that aren't your brand. Don't use HTML. At some point in the product description, people would like format their copy. This doesn't fly by Amazon anymore. And then make sure that the images are high quality. They don't want low resolution images. Make sure that the image ratio is the right ratio for that specific module. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to submit it. And those are some general terms. There's category specific ones, but they're all very made available.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so I think so far we share lots of very interesting insights and useful tips. Guys, remember that in every episode of this podcast, you will always get some complementary material. So remember to, in this case, actually, Slave is sharing with us the SOP that they are using in their, he's using in his agency to delegate the design job of the A+ content creation and the copy job. So obviously you can use it for your team, or you can use it for yourself, but make sure you grab these copies of their SOPs, because they are super valuable, and you will find lots of some of the things that we've discussed about today and a lot more. So make sure you grab that copy. You will find the link in the episode show notes at thesellerprocess.com or in the description of the YouTube video. All right. So obviously, people might have might wonder, like, if you since you are so like knowledgeable about these kind of things, how can they reach out, and what can you help them with in case they would like to use your services to create their content?
I would suggest that they hop onto fliprise.com. That's flip as in flip a coin, and rise as in growth. And fliprise.com, and check out our services, check out our case studies, our work so far, see if there's anything they like there. We do a lot of rebrands. We work with a lot of aggregators, and basically these are there's really nice case studies that showcase our work. We're currently doing a lot of A+, so started as soon as Amazon unveiled that as a free option, and so we're very experienced in that as well. Check us out, and if you want to inquire about anything, there's a form they can fill on the website, and and get in touch with us, and then we can maybe get on a call and discuss if there's any synergies or ways that we can help them.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, so thank you again, Slave, for sharing your tips with us. It was very, very nice to have you in this podcast.
Yeah. One last thing I would like to mention, since we are also running a design app for people that are curious about it, if they want to check out and try creating listing images using design templates that we designed at our agency, they can go to thelista.co and check out our design app for non-designers and see if they can benefit from it as well.
Awesome.
Thank you for inviting me to the podcast. It was really nice talking to you, and I hope that this provides value for your viewers.
For sure, I'm sure they will be happy with this. Thank you again. So, guys, remember the key to success is to emulate the best. So, take action from the tips that Slave just shared, and you remember to download the complementary materials, the SOPs on how to create high converting A+ content that you will find in the website thesellerprocess.com or in the YouTube description. So I wish you guys to have a productive week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.